If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. When the Cleveland Browns called Dillon Gabriel's name on draft night, the reaction across the league was a mix of surprise and skepticism. Analysts on television tilted their heads. Fans jumped to social media to vent, and the word reach started trending before Gabriel even had his new jersey in hand. The consensus was simple: Gabriel didn't have the physical tools that scream NFL starter. He wasn't the biggest, he didn't have the strongest arm, and his athletic profile was more functional than explosive. But the Browns' front office and coaching staff weren't drafting him for what he looked like in shorts and a t-shirt. They were drafting him for what was happening between his ears. They believed, or at least hoped, that his mental speed, that so-called supercomputer processing they bragged about, would be his NFL superpower. 5 starts into his rookie season, though, it's starting to look like that supercomputer might be running on outdated software. Coming out of Oklahoma, Gabriel's reputation was that of a cerebral quarterback, a calm operator in chaos. Scouts praised his ability to stay cool when the pocket collapsed, his knack for keeping his eyes downfield even with defenders breathing down his neck, and his smooth, confident decision-making. Dane Brugler from The Athletic summed it up perfectly before the draft: shows outstanding feel to patiently sort through rush, elude pressure, and buy time. Keeps eyes downfield and doesn't panic when locating secondary progressions. That quote became almost prophetic, because it was repeated so many times during the offseason that it practically became part of Gabriel's brand. The Browns, desperate for stability at quarterback after years of trial and error, latched onto that identity. They saw Gabriel as a player who might not blow you away with flash, but could operate their offense efficiently, a machine in human form. One who would make the right reads, find the open man, and deliver the ball with quiet precision. But if you've watched him through 5 games, that's not what you're seeing at all. The tape tells a more complicated story. Watching the alt-Wendy to film, it's easy to find plays where the Browns' offense had answers. Routes developing open down the field, coverages breaking just the way they were supposed to, and yet the ball never found its way there. Sometimes it wasn't entirely Gabriel's fault. The offensive line has been inconsistent, and the Browns' pass protection has cracked under even moderate pressure. There have been drops, 2 costly ones, right when the offense seemed to be finding rhythm. But even taking those factors into account, the number of missed opportunities is concerning. Too often, Gabriel looks uncertain of what he's seeing. His feet start dancing in clean pockets. His internal clock ticks too fast, and he's already moving toward the check down before the routes downfield have had a chance to develop. It's the opposite of what he showed in college, where he was patient and surgical. Now, he looks rushed, and that rush is throwing everything off. Take, for example, that 4th-and-1 play late in the game against the Ravens, a defining moment. The kind of play that tells you what a quarterback is made of. The Browns were still in it, just 1 possession behind, and they needed that conversion to stay alive. The play design was good. David Njoku ran a sail route that broke open with just a beat of anticipation. Jerry Jeudy, lined up in the backfield, ran an out that also came free. The protection slid right, leaving Gabriel responsible for the blitzing corner on the opposite side. The read was there. The anticipation throw was there. But instead of trusting the play, trusting his arm, and trusting what he was seeing, Gabriel hesitated. He held the ball, froze just long enough for the blitz to arrive, and took a sack. Turnover on downs. Game over. It wasn't a catastrophic mental meltdown, but it was another in a series of small breakdowns that add up to a much larger problem. The Browns' rookie quarterback isn't playing like someone processing the game at a high level. And maybe that's the hardest thing to watch, not the mistakes themselves, but the tentativeness. Gabriel doesn't look confident right now. His eyes dart from one side of the field to the other, often without conviction. When he hits his back foot on the drop, you can see the hesitation. He looks, he thinks, and then he checks down. That might work in a college offense where windows stay open longer and defenders are half a step slower. But in the NFL, that split second of doubt is the difference between a 12-yard completion and a sack. It's not that Gabriel doesn't know where to go with the football. In fact, you can see moments where he clearly recognizes the coverage and identifies the right read, but for whatever reason, he's not pulling the trigger. Maybe it's a lack of trust in his protection, maybe it's a fear of turnovers, or maybe, deep down, It's a realization that his arm can't always deliver the ball where he wants it, when he wants it. Whatever the cause, the result is the same. The Browns' offense looks hesitant, mechanical, and inefficient now. Let's be fair, Gabriel is a rookie. He's learning, adjusting, and being thrown into the deep end of an NFL season with a roster that's still trying to find its identity. Rookie quarterbacks rarely look polished in their first handful of starts, even the great ones. The Mahomes, the Burrows, the Strouds had growing pains. But what's concerning with Gabriel isn't just the inexperience. It's the lack of visible growth from week to week. The mistakes look eerily similar. The same hesitation. The same short checkdowns on 3rd and long. The same disconnect between what the play design offers and what he chooses to take. The coaching staff has tried to simplify things. More quick reads, more RPOs, more rhythm throws, but even then, the spark hasn't appeared. That so-called supercomputer processing that was supposed to make him special hasn't shown up when the lights are brightest. Part of the problem may be psychological. Confidence is everything for a quarterback. And Gabriel's confidence seems to be eroding under the constant pressure of the NFL learning curve. You can almost see it in his body language after a misread or a missed throw. The shoulders slump, the eyes go to the sideline, and the rhythm of the offense breaks apart. That's the tricky part about playing quarterback. Once you start to question what you see, it snowballs. A moment of hesitation becomes a habit becomes a tendency, and before long, you're no longer playing fast, you're reacting late. For a player like Gabriel, whose game is built on anticipation and rhythm, that's fatal. He's not built to freelance like Josh Allen or improvise like Lamar Jackson. His edge is supposed to be mental, but when that edge dulls, the rest of his game starts to crumble. The Browns coaching staff is in a difficult position. They've invested time and belief into Gabriel, and the locker room seems to like him. He's quiet but composed, smart but humble, the kind of teammate who owns his mistakes. But the NFL isn't about personality, it's about production. And the Browns are running out of patience. They can't afford another season of offensive stagnation. Not with the kind of talent they have at the skill positions. Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. These are weapons meant for a quarterback who can read, react, and deliver right now. That's not happening. The defense has been doing its job, giving Cleveland chances in tight games, but the offense continues to sputter because its leader, under center, hasn't yet found his footing. And that brings us to the big question. Can Dillon Gabriel figure it out? The answer isn't simple, but the potential is still there. You can see flashes, moments when the old Gabriel, the confident playmaker from Oklahoma, peeks through a perfectly timed throw on a deep curl, a subtle pocket movement to evade pressure, a quick release that beats the blitz. Those moments remind you why the Browns took the gamble in the first place. But flashes aren't enough. The NFL demands consistency. Gabriel doesn't need to be a superhero. He just needs to be the quarterback the Browns thought they were getting, the one who sees the game like a chessboard, not a minefield. That means trusting his reads, trusting his protection, and taking the calculated risks that separate good quarterbacks from backups. In the end, the story of Dillon Gabriel's rookie season isn't written yet. 5 starts is a small sample size, and plenty of players have struggled early before finding their stride. But the supercomputer narrative, that idea of a mentally unstoppable, mechanically precise quarterback, has taken a hit. Maybe it was unfair to begin with. Maybe we asked too much too soon from a player who's still adjusting to NFL speed and complexity. Or maybe, just maybe, Gabriel needs to reboot, clear the mental cache, start fresh. Because right now, the machine isn't computing the way it's supposed to. And if the Browns don't see improvement soon, they might start wondering whether they bought the wrong processor for their offensive system. That's the reality of the NFL. It's not enough to be smart on paper or accurate in shorts. You have to translate it on Sundays against defenses that disguise their intentions and blitz your blind side. Dillon Gabriel has the tools to survive, but survival isn't what the Browns drafted him for. They drafted him to elevate, to command, to process the game faster than everyone else. 5 games in. That hasn't happened, but football is a long season, and redemption is always one good performance away. The question now is whether the Browns' supercomputer quarterback can finally start operating at full speed before the league and his own team decides to pull the plug. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Hold on to your seats, football fans, because the rumor mill is absolutely on fire today. And if it pans out, we might be witnessing the beginning of a seismic shift in the AFC landscape. Word on the street is that Jordan Love, yes, the quarterback who's been on everyone's radar since his draft days, has officially signed with the Cleveland Browns, and let me tell you, the implications of this move could be absolutely massive, not just for the Browns, but for the entire league. For months, there's been chatter, whispers in locker rooms, and even late-night tweets that hinted at a potential shakeup in Cleveland's quarterback room. But now it seems those whispers have turned into reality. Jordan Love, known for his rocket arm and mobility that can scramble defenses, is reportedly set to take the reins in a Browns offense that has been searching for consistency under center. The move alone is enough to make rival teams sit up and take notice. Because if Love can unlock even a fraction of his potential, the Browns could be staring down a season where every game feels like a playoff atmosphere. But the story doesn't end with just a quarterback change. The buzz doesn't lie. There are reports that the Browns front office has been quietly but aggressively assembling a pass rush that could legitimately terrify opponents. This isn't your average draft handhold approach. Sources suggest that Cleveland has been investing in edge rushers, linebackers, and defensive schemes designed to maximize pressure on opposing quarterbacks. Imagine a scenario where Jordan Love, in his first games with the team, has time to settle in behind a reinforced defensive line while the defense is creating chaos on the other side of the ball. Rivals are already sweating at the thought. If these reports hold water, we might be looking at a team that not only challenges for a playoff spot, but could alter the balance of power in a division that has been historically dominated by one or two perennial favorites. There's also speculation swirling around about how this signing could impact the quarterback market league-wide. Teams that were hesitant to make bold moves may now be reconsidering their strategies. Rumors are flying that the Browns front office sees this as more than just a transactional upgrade. They're aiming for a complete organizational shakeup, signaling to the league that they're ready to contend immediately. This kind of message can send ripples through draft boards, trade talks, and free agent signings. Rival general managers, according to insiders, are already plotting their counters. There's talk of other teams scrambling to secure their own future quarterbacks, perhaps even considering trades or shock moves that we wouldn't have thought possible just a few weeks ago. The domino effect of one high-profile signing like Love could fundamentally reshape the league's off-season dynamics. Now, let's talk strategy, because the Browns aren't just signing a quarterback. They're constructing a narrative. Sources close to the team suggest that the coaching staff is already planning schemes that leverage Love's dual threat abilities. We're talking about zone read options, bootlegs, deep shots downfield, and quick-hitting throws designed to exploit mismatches. Analysts who have been tracking Love's development since his college days are quietly optimistic, noting that his accuracy has improved, his decision-making under pressure is sharpening, and perhaps most importantly, he has the physical tools to dominate the trenches and evade blitzes. Meanwhile, the pass rush, which insiders describe as deeply terrifying, could create a feedback loop where opposing defenses are forced to respect both sides of the ball, giving Love the kind of breathing room that quarterbacks dream of. And here's where it gets really juicy. There's word that rival teams, particularly within the division, are in a mild panic. Coaches reportedly are holding emergency strategy sessions just to consider the possibility of facing Love in a Browns squad that may have become a defensive nightmare. There's also chatter that the Browns' offensive line has undergone subtle but significant tweaks in the offseason, aiming to provide maximum protection for their new quarterback while maintaining the agility needed for a fast-paced, explosive offensive style. It's a calculated gamble, some would say. But when it comes to professional football, calculated gambles can sometimes pay off in spectacular fashion. If Love thrives under this system, the Browns could go from a team that's been struggling to find identity to one that suddenly feels untouchable at times, at least on paper. Meanwhile, fans are absolutely losing it. Social media is lighting up with speculation, memes, and debates about how this could impact playoff races. Some are calling it a game changer for the AFC, while others are predicting drama-filled storylines where Jordan Love's rookie-like energy meets a seasoned defensive front designed to dominate opponents. The narrative writes itself: a young quarterback eager to prove himself, a revitalized team eager to shake up the league, and rivals desperately trying to keep pace. In a sport where momentum And perception can influence everything from ticket sales to draft strategies. This kind of high-profile move has ripple effects that extend far beyond just the playing field. Insiders are also hinting at a psychological edge. The Browns have historically struggled to project dominance in key matchups, but the combination of a promising quarterback and a fearsome pass rush could create an aura of intimidation teams entering Cleveland might face a mental hurdle even before the first snap. Analysts suggest that if Love quickly gels with his receiving cores and the defense delivers on its rumored potential, the Browns could become the type of team that flips momentum games in the second half, dominating from unexpected angles and creating an unpredictable playoff-style intensity during the regular season. Rivals in the AFC are reportedly already brainstorming contingency plans, trying to decipher how to neutralize a dual-threat quarterback behind a line built for both protection and deception, while also contending with a defensive front capable of pressuring the quarterback into mistakes. On top of all this, there's a social dimension that adds fuel to the fire. Rumors are circulating that team chemistry, locker room morale, and leadership dynamics in Cleveland have been positively influenced by the arrival of Love. Sources hint that younger players are energized by his presence. Veteran players are motivated to elevate their game, and the coaching staff feels a renewed sense of purpose. If this narrative holds true, the Browns could be constructing not just a team capable of competing, but a culture that attracts talent, retains key players, and intimidates rivals both on and off the field. The whispers in the NFL corridors suggest that other teams are taking notes, considering how they can emulate a model that combines youthful exuberance with veteran savvy, and a defense built to terrorize quarterbacks across the league. So, while nothing is officially written in stone beyond the reported signing, the chatter is relentless. Sports journalists, analysts, and former players are weighing in with predictions, many suggesting that the AFC might see its balance of power shift dramatically. Rumors abound of other potential signings, trades, and draft strategies influenced by this single move. Every rumor, every speculation, every inside source claim seems to point to the same conclusion. The Browns are no longer a team to take lightly. The Jordan Love era, or at least the beginning of what insiders are calling a new chapter, could define Cleveland's immediate future, and with a defensive line reportedly designed to strike fear into the heart of every opposing quarterback, the league might be on the brink of witnessing a team that combines offensive promise with defensive terror in a way that hasn't been seen in years. Whether Jordan Love lives up to the hype remains to be seen, but the sheer audacity of this signing, coupled with a rumored pass rush that could redefine opponent game plans, makes the Browns one of the most intriguing stories heading into the next season. Fans are buzzing, rival coaches are strategizing, and the media can barely keep up with the swirling speculation. If the rumors are accurate, Cleveland could become the kind of team that headlines every sports talk show, dominates headlines, and reshapes the narrative of an entire division. One thing is certain, the Browns are no longer a team to overlook. With Jordan Love potentially at the helm and a defensive front designed to terrorize, the whispers could very quickly turn into roars, and the NFL may be about to witness one of the most dramatic shifts in recent memory. It's a story that has everything: a young quarterback hungry to prove himself, a defensive front that could become legendary, rival teams scrambling to respond, and fans already imagining what could be a season full of unforgettable moments. In the rumor mill of the NFL, this one might just be the biggest shakeup yet, and everyone is waiting to see if Jordan Love and the Browns can turn whispers into reality and terrorize the league in a way that nobody saw coming. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!